And that takes us to the story we're talking about today. A young lady was talking about the fact that a woman slapped a man's face in the bus, and she was wondering what happened. And then they found out the woman said the man allegedly touched her breasts. He then apologized. And then when she saw other people, but she saw that he was still leaning on her. When she then realized that everybody was sleeping, she now pretended to be sleeping also. The man now took opportunity to go further. And that's when the slapping continued. But this story reminded us of the fact that a lot of young girls we come across every day. Teenagers, young adults going in public transportation and saying, Samara, this thing is normal. It happens. They will touch you. You have to just pretend. After a while, how many people can you be slapping? You get it all the time in the bus, in the, what's the yellow one, the Marwa. You know, you get that it happens. They will touch you.
The bikes.
The bikes, they will touch. So this has become a norm. And it's something worth discussing because we need to bring this attention to a lot of men out there who think it's normal, especially because in this case, this lady was saying that none of the men in the bus said anything.
Women. And the women too.
And even the women didn't say anything. You know, so that's our conversation today because our job is to help to reorientate and to show people options of doing new things, new ways.
It's so painful that what we experienced as young people, and we think that the world is getting better, the world is developing, it's becoming a global village, eyes are opening, minds are opening, that things like this would have reduced. The intensity, the frequency would have reduced. But unfortunately, in some areas, we'll still hear them. My pain is not the person who was groping because obviously that person is sick. He needs treatment. For you to get into a bus and all you can think of is, this is a woman, let me feel myself. You are definitely sick. You should have been catched and taken to and taken to a psychiatric hospital immediately to be evaluated. So he's sick. But my pain was the women in the bus who didn't say anything. The men in the bus who didn't speak up. She was shouting, she was screaming, in fact, when she slapped him, he responded, he was trying to slap her back. Before she started screaming, nobody could hold this man down and chastise him. Everybody was silent. The driver was silent, the men were silent. So who do you call on? Who do you cry to? This is our situation. Anything can be happening to you on the road and everybody just minds their business. Yeah. What kind of society are we? We are not doing well at all. It's a shame. We are forgetting to be human beings. We are forgetting to be our brother's keepers. What if it was your daughter that was in that situation? Would you have kept quiet? We need to change our orientation as a people. We need to.
Well, some might argue that I didn't see it happen. She's just shouting. What if she just, you know, there could be different reasons why people just say, I beg, let me mind my business in this Lagos.
Yes, of course. The reason why this story is very important to me is that I felt she did something that many don't do, which is when she made the call, because the story was, you know, when the shouting began, she picked up her phone and she was calling her family members. And then she said, and no one is saying anything. Even the women here are not saying anything. So the person that posted it said it really got to her. Because many times, you know, especially when you're in public, we want to mind our business. We don't want to get involved. It's not our business anyway. Yeah. And it's a bus, it's Nigeria, we're on a bus, you will get off it anyway and you will go your way. But what she did was to remind us. So it's not about these Nigerians, it's about all of us. Yeah. One way or the other, we have found ourselves in situations where we have turned our face because it was easier to do that than to confront the situation. Because if you confronted it, then maybe you
get killed.
Maybe you'll be mobbed, one, or maybe you now have to take a step further and then go and lay a complaint somewhere. And we don't want to do it. We just want to get on with our day and, you know, and leave. So it's important that I feel, you know, we have all these mobile courts and things like that. That's on one hand can help for quick prosecution. But this story reminds each and every one of us that we have a duty to each other. That when we see an injustice being done, we should be the voice, you know, that we should use our voice to make sure that justice is done. It's sad because this girl could have been our daughter, our sister, you know, someone that we know. And for us to have been, as a young girl, I've been in situations where I thought someone was rubbing themselves against me, and all I would do is try to, you know, just shift my position because you just don't want to get into the business of...
I've shared that story before where many years ago, this was many years ago, a celebrity came into my office, an old office I used to work in, and they came in and they just, like, literally, did like this.
Robbed you.
And the guy was year high. I was taller than him, so he was right in front of my face. And I reported him immediately.
No, he was also saying...
Yes, now, I was so embarrassed.
You for who's and first?
No, I know me, I didn't have that confidence to be whoozing. Now that I know BC, I've learned to whooz. I can whooz now, but I can't whooz then. You know, but it's the fact that it happens a lot. Our girls go to the markets all the time. We send them and they're touching their hips and everything. I think it's yourself. Who's going to protect you? Nobody wants to protect them because they don't want to get mobbed, as Miriam says. Nima, your thoughts on this?
So this exposes a Nigerian culture of acceptance of these kind of things. And it goes way back, you know, where mothers will say, well, you don't really do much. Even as more touch you, leave them. You know, this goes way back, where people think that a young girl is troublesome for raising an alarm about these kind of things. True. Even institutionally, to report sexual harassment, hey, they go say you bring the camera's head way past through the do. And you know you were just harassed. You know clearly that you've been sexually harassed. I remember myself and my elder sister were checking our WAEC result then in Ogba at the WAEC office. And you know this queue will be long. They'll be calling number. Before they call your number that your result, they will now give it to you. We were on that queue. And I felt something behind me. Hey. I was like, the whole idea. I wasn't even fully hijab then. My hijab used to be very designer kind of thing. Small scarf and all of that. I was wearing trousers. I turned back and I was like, I just gave my sister eye. They gave you close marking. They gave Elijah close marking. Father Lord of my beat. See me. When you beat? With a fight, public fight. I mean, I've not pretended here not to have fought some public.
That's why I like you.
So we turned back and I gave my sister, I said she had felt the same thing. Because when you push him, you will leave the girl that has confronted him and go. By the time we started the beating, girls gathered. And they were like, you know, there are sick people everywhere. And if you don't stand up for yourself, that's the simple truth. And insist on your truth. Nobody will join you.
Listen, let's not
that's the truth. Because there's a culture of acceptance. You see the mothers.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just here. It's across the world. Yes. People just just move on. How many fights can you fight?
It's not even across the world. Nigerians have a lot of issues they're dealing with. That one is real. You see people just like, it's okay. The world already is hard anyway. So you have to insist on your own truth.